Welcome back to AR Tales. In today's story, we explore a husband who is called pathetic for trying to be romantic and quietly turns his marriage into a financial audit. As you listen, notice the exact moment where you think he should have stopped trying to fix things and started protecting himself. I am Michael, 34, married to Sarah, 31. We have been married for 5 years. She works in marketing, makes about $54,000 a year. I work as a financial analyst and earn around $135,000. We live in a nice house in a decent suburb. I put $95,000 down on that house before we got married. Last month was our 5th anniversary. I wanted it to matter because things had felt off for a while, so I took the day off work. I went to 3 different stores to get everything right. I made herb-crusted salmon, her favorite, roasted asparagus with garlic, a homemade chocolate soufflé that took forever not to ruin. I bought a bottle of her favorite Pinot Noir, the $80 one she always points out but never buys for herself. I put maybe 30 candles around the dining room, bought fresh white roses from the farmer's market. By 6:45, the place looked like a scene from a movie. For the first time in months, I felt hopeful. Maybe this would help us reset. Sarah walked in around 7 with her sister Jessica and her best friend Amanda. They were supposed to just stop by before a girls' night out. I was finishing the last candles when I heard Sarah laugh from the doorway. "Oh my God, Michael, stop trying so hard to be romantic. It is pathetic. You look desperate." The room went silent. Jessica went pale and whispered, "Sarah," like she could not believe what she had heard. Amanda stared at her shoes. Nobody looked at me. Sometimes a whole marriage shifts in a single comment. This was that moment for me. Something in me just snapped into focus. I did not yell. I did not argue. I walked to the table and started blowing out candles one by one. "What are you doing?" Sarah asked. "Stopping," I said. My voice sounded strangely calm even to me. I picked up the roses. "You just taught me something important. Romance is pathetic when it is one-sided, so I am done being pathetic." I walked past the 3 of them, tossed the roses into the kitchen trash, and pulled out my phone. "We can eat like roommates from now on," I added. "Tony's Pizza or that Chinese place." She stared at me, confused, annoyed, then suddenly worried as she realized I was not playing along with whatever script she had in mind. She had been expecting me to beg, to apologize, to prove myself again. Instead, I just stopped chasing. Jessica grabbed her purse. "We should go." Amanda was already halfway to the door. After they left, Sarah tried to smooth things over. "Baby, I had such a stressful day at work. You know how I get when I am overwhelmed. I did not mean it like that." "How did you mean it?" I asked. You were being a lot. It felt like pressure." "Pressure to what?" I asked. "Recognize that your husband loves you." She did not have an answer. I ordered pizza and ate in the living room while the meal I had cooked for us sat untouched on the table and went cold. She sat in the kitchen staring at it. That was the last night I tried to be romantic for someone who openly mocked it. What Sarah did not know was what I do for a living. I am a financial analyst who specializes in forensic accounting. My entire job is tracking money, spotting patterns, and building airtight cases from data. I had already been tracking our household finances for years, not because I suspected anything, just because my brain works like a spreadsheet. Every receipt scanned, every expense tagged, every joint purchase recorded down to the cent. When I looked at the numbers, the picture was simple. I was paying 81% of our shared expenses. Over 5 years, that added up to $127,000. Sarah contributed 19%, which came out to about $29,000. On top of that, I had spent more than $52,000 on romantic things. Flowers, surprise weekends, jewelry, trips, concert tickets, spa days. All the extra effort you put in when you think romance is a two-way street. Her romantic contribution over 5 years in dollars or effort was 0. So after that anniversary, I made a decision. Operation Roommate. Every shared expense from then on was split 50-50. Every bill logged in a shared Google Sheet. Every charge followed by an immediate Venmo request. No more quiet, I got it this time. No more automatic paying. Week 1 was interesting. She actually seemed relieved. I heard her on the phone with her mom. "He is finally chilling out and giving me some breathing room," she said. "It is so much better this way, Mom. I can just exist without constantly being pursued." She said it loud enough that I heard every word from the kitchen. At this point, a lot of people would have blown up. I decided to keep watching. Sometimes you learn more by collecting data than by arguing. Week 2 is when things started to pinch. Her car needed $380 of brake work. Before, I would have taken care of it without thinking twice. "Babe, can you help with the car?" she asked. "I would set up a payment plan with the shop," I said. "They usually offer 0% financing." "You always handle car stuff," she said, confused. "I handled car stuff when we were a team," I answered. "Roommates handle their own transportation." Later, she mentioned wanting to try a new steakhouse. "Do they take separate checks?" I asked, looking at the menu. When she needed new work clothes, I did not offer to take her shopping like before. I just kept logging my half of the groceries and utilities and left the rest to her. Week 3 brought the complaints. "You used to ask how my presentation went," she said. "You do not tell me I look nice anymore. Are you planning to stay mad forever?" "I am not mad," I said. "I am just not pathetic anymore. There is a difference." The woman who had grown used to living on a lifestyle funded mostly by my income was meeting reality. $54,000 a year does not stretch as far once the subsidy disappears. At the same time, I kept thinking about what shaped her. Her dad walked out when she was 12. Her mom had to work 3 jobs to keep food on the table. Sarah told me stories about wearing the same shoes until they fell apart and pretending she was not hungry because there was no lunch money. It made sense that she clung to security, that she let me handle everything. That does not excuse 5 years of taking me for granted, but it explained how she got so comfortable with me doing all the giving. Then Emma, her coworker, messaged me. We had gone out together as couples a few times. Emma had always seemed straightforward. "Hey Michael," she wrote. "I hope this is not weird, but I think you should know what Sarah has been saying at work about you. We met for coffee." Emma looked uneasy. "Everyone in the office thinks you are some controlling guy," she said. "Sarah tells people you suddenly started forcing her to pay half of everything as punishment. That you are withholding affection because she asked for space." Emma shook her head. "I have seen you pick up every dinner check when we went out. I have seen her Venmo request you for coffee and groceries. I have never once heard about her doing something thoughtful for you. I could not stay quiet anymore." That was the moment I realized Sarah was not just ungrateful. She was rewriting our history to make herself the victim of what were, in reality, basic boundaries. So I did what I do at work. I built a case. One Thursday night, Sarah came home with that "we need to talk" expression. "Michael, this has gone on long enough," she said, sitting at the kitchen table like she was leading a formal meeting. "You are punishing me. It is not healthy." "You are right," I said. "We do need to talk." I opened my laptop and turned it toward her. "These are 5 years of our finances," I said, "prepared with the same detail I use for federal audits." "I do not want to see your stupid spreadsheets," she snapped. "These are not stupid," I said. "This is our relationship in numbers." I walked her through the charts, monthly breakdowns of who paid what, 5 years of receipts for romantic gestures, flowers, trips, birthdays, promotions, surprise dinners, the works. "In the last 12 months," I said, "I spent $8,400 on things meant only to make you feel loved. That is separate from bills and groceries." Sarah stared at the screen, cheeks going red. "Now I want you to answer one question," I said. "When was the last time you did something romantic for me? When did you surprise me with anything? When did you take the lead on making me feel special?" The silence stretched. We both knew the answer. "I show love differently," she said finally. Her voice cracked. "How?" I asked. "By accepting everything I do and calling it pathetic in front of your friends. By taking and never giving back." "You cannot put a price on love," she said. "You are right," I said. "You cannot, but you can measure effort. You can see who shows up. According to this, I have been in a one-person relationship for 5 years. I clicked to the next slide. These are the costs of the romantic gestures you laughed at last month. The candles, the meals, the trips. I have spent more on making you feel loved than most people spend on a car. Stop it, she said, but her voice was shaking. You know what is actually pathetic, I said quietly. Calling someone desperate for loving you while doing nothing to love them back. That is when she broke. Fine, she shouted, standing up so fast her chair fell back. You want the truth. Sometimes your romantic stuff made me feel suffocated. It felt needy, like you could not exist without my approval. So you felt suffocated by being loved, I said. Got it. I felt suffocated by being needed so much, she said. It was too much pressure. Love without responsibility is not love, I said. You wanted to be desired without having to desire me back. You wanted the security and attention and comfort, just not the work. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. You wanted a sugar daddy, not a husband, I said. Her face told me I had landed on the truth she did not want to admit. After that conversation, she switched tactics. She went into charm mode. There were home-cooked dinners where she still sent me a request for half the groceries, sudden interest in my hobbies, questions about projects she had ignored for years. One night she showed up in lingerie in the doorway like she was trying to reset everything with a single scene. But something in me had shifted. I was done begging to be valued. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I got home around 6 to find the kitchen covered in papers. Bank statements, credit card bills, rental listings, numbers scribbled on napkins. Sarah had been trying to make a budget. You have ruined everything, she screamed when she saw me. Do you have any idea what you have done to me? I cannot afford my car, I cannot afford my gym, I cannot afford my loans, I cannot afford anything. Welcome to what 54,000 actually buys, I said calmly. I hate you, she said. I hate that you made me depend on you. I hate that you trapped me in this house. I hate that I need you. There it was, the real relationship summary in one sentence. You could have been honest from the beginning, I said. You could have said, I appreciate what you provide and it scares me how much I rely on it. Instead, you called my love pathetic. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. For a moment, all I saw was the scared 12-year-old whose dad had left. The girl who watched her mother juggle 3 jobs. I understood her fear. Then she looked up at me with pure bitterness. You think you are better than me, she said. You are boring and pathetic and desperate. No one else will want you. You will come crawling back within 6 months. Maybe, I said quietly, but I would rather be alone than with someone who thinks loving her is pathetic. 2 days later, she moved out. Because of my documentation, the divorce went smoothly. I kept the house, my retirement accounts, and my sanity. She kept her car, her personal things, and a very steep learning curve about living within her actual means. My lawyer, Patricia, shook her head at the final hearing. Most people come in with boxes of receipts and vague memories, she said. You came with a forensic report. You made this easy. About 6 months after the divorce, my phone rang at 2 in the morning. I made the mistake of answering. Michael, Sarah's voice was small and rough from crying. Please, I made a terrible mistake. I need you back. I cannot live like this. She told me about her rent for a tiny studio, her maxed-out credit cards, the ramen dinners, the panic. I am drowning, she said. Please, I am sorry. My therapist says I have abandonment issues from my dad and I pushed you away because I was terrified you would leave. I am sorry you are struggling, I said. But that is not my problem anymore. But I love you, she said. I have always loved you. I was just scared. If that were true, I said, you would not have called my love pathetic. You would not have humiliated me in front of your friends. You would not have spent 5 years taking without giving. She begged, promised she would change, that she would start paying for dates, doing romantic things, being different. You had 5 years when everything was comfortable, I said. You did not want to change then. You only want to change now that the safety net is gone. I hung up and blocked her number. Today, I am with Katie, 29, who works in tech and earns her own good money. On our first date, she picked up the check and said, I asked you out, so this one is on me. On our third date, she brought me flowers. Sunflowers, because I had once mentioned I liked them. She tells me I look good and you can hear that she means it. She has never once hinted that I should subsidize her lifestyle. She is grateful when I do something nice, and she does things back without keeping a scorecard. It turns out romance is not pathetic at all. It is only pathetic when you give it to someone who thinks they never have to return it. Lesson 1. Romance is not desperation. It only looks that way to someone who wants the benefits of being loved without the responsibility of loving back. Lesson 2. Effort can be measured. When one person carries all of the financial and emotional weight for years, that is not a partnership. Lesson 3. Understanding someone's trauma explains their behavior, but it does not require you to live with the damage it causes. Lesson 4. If a partner rewrites the story to make you the villain for having basic boundaries, believe what their version reveals about them, not you. Lesson 5. You are allowed to walk away from a one-sided relationship, even if the other person finally wants to change after the safety net is gone. Lesson 6. A healthy partner does not just accept your effort. They match it in their own way, and they never call your love pathetic. What would you have done the moment she mocked that anniversary dinner? And have you ever realized, too late or just in time, that you were giving everything to someone who thought your affection made you weak?